Hello, Craptacklers. You are now flipping over to the B-side.
Hello and welcome to Cinema Craptacklers Presents B-Sides, where we dig through the streaming pile of crap that the internet has to offer to find that rare gem. Don't forget to like and rate us wherever you listen to us because it really helps get the Craptacklers word out there. This is Dave, and with me are my uncrappy co-hosts,
Tara.
And Adam. We watched a movie that asked the questions, what if a freshwater lake had sharks in it? And what if the sharks weren't the real monsters? Don't go to bed early because it's Shark Night!
Here's how IMDB describes this movie. 7 college students go to a lake house in the Louisiana Gulf, but their wild weekend turns into a night of terror as they are subjected to a swarm of shark attacks.
Can I just tell you guys, I rate my accomplishments in this podcast is if I can make Tara laugh after I do my intro. I know she's laughing at me and not at my my cleverness, but that's how I rate my success.
Well, you did it. I just like that, we watched a movie where we asked the questions, what if a freshwater lake had sharks in it? And you know what we did, guys? That is exactly what we did. And, I just want to say, this movie had me at the opening scene where a girl in a bikini, a tiny bikini, whose boyfriend takes her top off, and then they're attacked violently. So
that opening was so funny. Like, they kept cutting underwater. For some reason, the girl is bouncing up and down on her toes, so her ass jiggles. You know what I mean? Why is she doing that in the lake? Is the floor hot? I don't.
What was amazing about that scene is underwater it was 20 feet deep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then you cut to her and she's waist
deep.
The water's up to her neck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the boyfriend comes out and they're flirting and stuff, and then he stands up and the water comes to his waist.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where is the water level?
What's the
in this
rule?
movie?
Yeah, what's the rule here,
Yeah.
water level? Yeah.
Yeah.
I also love how she's like, don't take my top off. And then he takes her top off. And then
Of
she
course.
proceeds to go get her top, put it back on as he gets out of the water because he's like, I took her top off. I'm done. And she
That's
gets
all he
attacked by
Just like any male.
she gets attacked by a shark. And I don't know if you guys noticed this. The top kept coming off while she was being attacked by the shark. And I'm like, oh, the irony.
Yeah.
Well, the shark was the guy said to the shark right before the scene. He's like, "Hey, shark, I'm gonna go take her top off," and he went and did it. And the shark was like, "Hold my beer."
Oh god damn. Yeah, this movie did not start well. The first 30 minutes of the movie, I was definitely questioning.
It did not start well. It did not middle well, and it did not end well.
I'm sorry. I thought that, is that not a movie that, makes men get boners? That's not how you start a movie off for men to just get, is that what it doesn't take it?
Here's the thing, Tara. That's where Jaws did it right. Because Jaws started with nudity. There was no nudity.
Yeah.
This is a PG-13 movie. That was my biggest gripe with this movie the whole way through. I'm like, look, if you're going to make a movie about sexy co-eds and sharks ripping people in two, give it an R rating. Show me the innards, Show me the topless women. I mean, we did get to see that male model's butt at one point, which was, good for handsome boy modeling school. But, in general, this movie didn't go there. If you're going to go there, I can go there. Don't half-ass it.
They went full ass, Adam.
That's true.
But the other thing about that I was excited about this movie is Katherine Mcphee, Donald Logue, and Dustin Milligan. And Dustin Milligan, who some of you will recognize, then stars in Schitt's Creek later as the vet.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And Donald Logue.
Oh.
Donald Logue is one of my favorite no one knows who he is actors. I love him.
Character actor.
Yeah,
He's great.
character actor is the best way to put it. Yes. I love him. And I was so excited when I saw he was in this movie. And
then after his first scene, what did you think?
Well,
Excellent question.
yeah, they clearly gave him $50,000 to show up for 2 days of shooting. I don't know how else. But you know what, though, we say that. And this had Sarah Paxton in it, who is known for a bunch of movies. The other minor leads, I'm going to say his name wrong, but Sininque Wells, he's been in Once Upon a Time, Teen Werewolf. There were names in this movie. I wonder if they're all Canadians. Like if this was a Canadian venture.
Katherine McPhee's from Woodland Hills.
Oh, she is? Oh, well,
Yeah.
then that just, well, that just...
That theory's shot to hell.
Nice
Well, because
try,
that would have
Adam.
explained to me, like, Canadians making a horror movie. Like, whoa, we got to be nice about this, eh? We can't make this too, like, PG-13's as far as we're going to go, you know?
Oh,
Can't
eh?
show any of them
Well-
boobs, eh?
I'm glad they were nice about that, and then we're like, but Hicks, we're gonna make sure Hicks are always assholes. In
Oh
this
my
movie.
god,
That's
the
right.
casual racism in this movie blew my mind. Blew my mind.
I
Just-
think what this movie did well is that they attacked every terrible movie trope in the first 3 minutes.
That's true.
and then they were like, let's repeat that for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, let's do it. It was
One
like
of
the bad girl's getting a tattoo, and you're like, also, it's Katherine McPhee. She's never going to be a bad girl, but okay. I'm
Yeah.
like, all right.
I was actually
Anyways.
saying to Tara and Dave before this, like, whenever I hear Katherine McPhee, like the name, I picture like a maternal grandmother making me cookies. And then I see her and I'm like, oh my god, I forgot she's a stunningly beautiful woman who's not past 30 something. And it always just kind of rocks my world a little bit. And I think that's the issue I have with her name. She should change it. Make it Katie. K. K McPhee. K McPhee. I like it. Katie. Change
Yeah.
it to K. I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
maybe her career would finally take off if she listened to you, Adam.
Yeah, it would open some doors for
I know
her.
she's struggling. I know she's struggling.
Clearly.
Well, she did do Shark Night.
So, well, this was also from 2011. I
Yeah,
didn't
this
realize
is
it was that old.
Real- This is the 10th anniversary of Shark Night, everybody.
Oh,
the
that's
11th.
nice.
On the 11th.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Nice try. Nice
Oh my god.
try.
It's still 2021 somewhere.
That's right. Another strong start off to this movie. So you start with a violent shark attack and titties, no titties.
Right.
Then in the first 3 minutes, you cover every terrible movie trope of like nerdy college kid, jock
That's
college kid, racist rednecks,
Yep.
like hot girls like
I-
to do bad things. And
Can
then
I just say something
Yes.
about nerdy hot kid?
Yeah.
It's the same thing they do with women. It's like, let's nerd them up. We'll put glasses on them.
Yeah.
This is a Captain America chiseled
Yup.
guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know he's a nerd because he has glasses on and is doing homework.
Right.
Yeah. And he says like he's like, leave me alone. Or like he's like, I'm
Yeah.
studying. And he's like,
I'm
"Ugh."
pre-med. I have to pre-med my stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
one thing I will say, which is good about like equal opportunity, beautiful people in this, like the one of the main villains, he was gorgeous, and like
Yeah, he was.
Oh, yeah.
super nerd was gorgeous, along with like all the women are obviously going to be beautiful. They have to run around in
Sure.
bikinis the whole damn time. I get it. But oftentimes they'll compensate by having like, you know, the slobby best friend, you know, nerd, and the like they didn't really have too much of that. They had racist redneck who had buck ass teeth. They had Donald Logue, who was still charming in his off-putting and I'm in my 50s way. And then you had
The
this
roommate.
nerdy right, the roommate, who
He
even
was like more insufferable. He was more
Right.
insufferable.
Yeah, he was more of a dick than he was like the homely nerd.
Yeah. But anyway, so they
The Homely Nerd.
the homely
The
nerd.
new movie from Adam Slippin.
Homely nerd.
Oh.
It's a children's book, actually, I think.
I hear Hugh Jackman's going to be in it. But so okay,
I'm
so
a
then,
Ned.
So then we meet like the lead character, who's obviously going to be a hot blonde girl, okay, a new hot blonde girl who like nobody's dated. Why doesn't she date anybody? It's a real mystery.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, fine, whatever. So we're going to her parents' like cabin guest house on the lake. Okay, fine.
Fucking mansion
Castle
on the lake. It's a
It is
mansion
a
on a
freaking
goddamn lake.
mansion. And
Yeah.
we're gonna I'm gonna put a pin in that. Okay, so remember, we're at a massive house on a lake. Okay,
Yep.
a house that has all the trimmings. Okay, fine. That's coming back to that. But anyways,
That's on an island in the lake.
correct,
Yes,
on an
good point.
island in the lake. Fine. So, but this is supposed to be like they're going for the weekend, and they do like oh my god, you know where they go from night into day, like where they drive like.
A travel log.
Yeah, they
of
drove through the night.
Quick editing or,
It was-
or sped up editing.
This lake was not remotely close. It took them a
No.
long time to get. I was like, this isn't a weekend trip, guys. This is a week. It took you
Yeah,
2
no,
days
they
to
were
get
going to
there.
school in Maryland, and they just decided to drive to Louisiana for this weekend away.
I literally was like,
I-
you guys are not making it back by Sunday night. It's Sunday morning now. And you left
It
Friday
is-
night.
Yeah, right. I when they got to like the gas station where the boat was, where they were going to like
Yeah.
get to the island, I was like, wait a minute. Now you have to get on a boat? This is too long.
It's so
And
far.
the other thing was 50% of this movie was the camera moving from one destination to another in sped up time.
Yes.
Like,
it drove me nuts.
They were like, they get in their car and it's a 5-minute music sequence where you're just seeing the front of the car and stuff passing by.
Yeah.
Like they did drive all night, I guess. And then they
not
get into the
close.
boat
Right.
and it's just the lake passing by.
I actually had a theory about this. It's because, I don't know if you noticed, a lot of the music, aside from all the stuff associated with Donald Logue, was kind of this, like, ambiguous, like kind of tame rock and roll music. And I'm wondering if it was all Christian rock. And if this whole movie was sponsored by a Christian rock label, which is another reason it had to be a PG-13 movie. I'm just throwing that out there, guys. And they're like, look, we'll give you money for this movie, but we need at least 20 Christian rock songs in there. And they're like, I guess we're doing a lot of montages of people, like, getting ready to go to the beach and driving through the countryside.
Adam, you finally uncovered that Nickelback is the money behind this movie.
Anyway, so we get to this lake house, which is a freaking castle, and it seems like no one's there, right? It's just like this house they have, and all of a sudden, my first question is like, damn, this girl's rich. Is no one going to talk about how rich this girl is?
Yes.
Well, look at the boat she got in to take them there. You know what I mean? It was just like, casually had that boat by the dock. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone had prepped it for them.
Yeah, she had like a dockhand who's like, yes, ma'am, here you go. It's all ready. And it's like, what? Anyway, so then they get out in the boat. We take 10 minutes of the camera time. Like, look at this. It's water. It's the swamp, and it's beautiful. Okay, cool. So fine. And then like introduces the idea that like there's sharks around and stuff like that. And then I go, how are there sharks in the bayou? Aren't there alligators? Like, what? And so immediately I was like,
aren't they saltwater animals?
Yeah.
I was like,
okay. So anyways, I was like, hopefully they'll explain that later. And much like they kind of explain it.
Kind of.
Yeah.
And
a Sharknado passed through and dumped a bunch of sharks into our lake.
Literally, they're like, the water got really high in this one spot, so like 100 sharks came over. Wait, what? I'm sorry, they did? Okay.
So many parts of this movie didn't make sense. Like, even when they eventually explained the villain's plan, which was to make animals attacking human videos for the internet, like they somehow attached cameras to the sharks so that they could film people getting eaten by the sharks. I was so... Like, what kind of plan is that? It's a terrible plan.
That must have gone... because they kind of gloss over that these are Donald Logue and Hick with vampire teeth and
Scars McGee.
Good-looking guy with scar on his face. All the bad guys.
Yeah.
They decked out the lake with so many cameras.
Yep.
They have all this technology.
Yeah.
And kind of education, too.
Oh,
of
yeah.
like how sharks respond to sound and shark cages.
They figured out how to set up a live stream in 2011.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what?
And then they had all these like cages all over that stored sharks. They've captured sharks and are holding them until they want to release them for the show, I guess.
That's the movie I want to see. I want to see Donald Logue go up to those two guys and go, I have a business proposition. And then one of them has to go to college to learn all about sharks. Donald Logue's got to put on his best tie to go get a bank loan so he can get all the,
Yes.
Dude, like, and it's just, you can still do all those fast forwards, you know what I mean? Of, like, the guy with the scar, like, learning how to wire video cameras and program on the internet. Like, that's a movie I'd watch. I think that'd be fun.
Mr. Logue, you want a business loan. Can you explain what your business proposition is and the income?
Slapstick comedy. I'd watch that movie.
Hey there, we'll be right back. And now, back to the show.
I will say this. I learned a lot about sharks because of this movie. For
So did
instance, yeah. So the first time the shark attacks the main characters, there's like the lead he's not the romantic lead. He's the athlete. His name is Malik, and he is on the back of a boat doing crazy like waterboarding tricks, like insane waterboarding tricks. And the shark,
like ESPN.
Yeah, seriously. Like, and everybody was like, "Yep, that's Malik doing his thing." And I'm like, "Is he on scholarship for water?" Doesn't matter.
Yes.
Anyway, he gets attacked, and he comes out of the water, and he's missing an arm. Right.
Yes.
So everybody freaks out.
Right.
Hot nerd doctor man like figures out, oh, tourniquet, bind it, blibbity blobbity blue, and then he just takes off and he dives into the lake to go. And I'm like, what is he doing? And I realize he's searching for the arm in the hopes that they're going to reattach it.
Yes.
And
by the way, that's a good friend. That's a good friend.
That's a great friend. Now Adam is going, that's stupid because A, there's a shark in the water, and B, the shark must have eaten the arm, right?
Yeah, of course.
At which point, no, wait. I'm sitting next to my friend Amy, who loves Shark Week. And she's like, actually, sharks don't like to eat humans. The taste of human blood or something, meat or something, blah, 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 like, it doesn't taste good to them. So while they'll attack a human being, they often spit the limb out after they, like, remove it from the body. And I'm like, huh. Well, there you go, Shark Night. Thank you very much.
Fun facts.
Fun
facts.
Would it have been awesome if the Hicks were like explained that later in the
yes,
like
again.
They're so. I'm sorry, Tara. I know you wanted to. I just want to jump in real quick about the Hicks because it drove me fucking nuts that they played them and wrote them like they were fucking idiots.
Yeah.
And they were not. I would love it because the one with the teeth. Oh. He was all rapey, and he's like, I like your flesh. I would have loved it if the girl would have been like, please don't rape me. And he was like, no, I make a shit ton of money. I have a girlfriend that I love. I just happen to, killing people with sharks is how I make my money. And I'm sorry, but you're the next victim. I can't help that.
Yeah,
you are talking about... Yeah, you are talking about the hick that called her a mighty fine rack of lamb, right? That's the one you're
correct. Yes, that's the one. That's the one. He just came off the set of Deliverance.
He did. And he like sharpened his teeth and like you see like he's like sharpened them into like vampires. Anyways, Malik's arm, right? So he comes out of the water, everyone's freaking out. Thank God Dustin Milligan is a pre-med student, so he figures this out. And obviously knows a lot about sharks. Okay, but then they bring him back in and in this back to my point, back to my little pin drop. They're in this massive house with all the trappings of a mansion and anything you could ever want. But there's no landline. There's no phone in 2011. Nope, not everybody had cell phones were not what There's no landline on an island home. What are you talking
satellite
about?
Phone?
Not a satellite phone?
It's an island. Radio? Guys, it's an island. How can there be a landline on an island? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, then, Adam, how can there be electricity?
That's a good point.
And again, if this
just blows my mind.
This house is so nice. And it's like, if you built a house that big with that many trappings on an island, first of all, that house costs like $20 million, okay? Because you have to bring everything in. And so you bring all these things in, but you don't have any, like, you don't have a flare gun. You got nothing.
Right. Oh, no. He had a flare gun, remember?
He had one flare gun.
Because even though the boat crashed into the gas, because it had gas, too, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So they tried to get Malik to shore. Malik's fiance ends up getting eaten on the way to shore. They drive back to the mansion with a shark hot on their heels. The boat loses control. They all jump out of the boat, and they crash into the gas station that's attached to the dock, which sends up this huge, like, boom of fire.
Yeah, no one sees that? No one sees that?
Exactly. And then 10 minutes later, like, don't worry, guys, I got a signal flare. I'm like, if no one saw the pillar of fire, why do you think they're going to see a signal flare? I
thought it was fascinating how everything happened in front of the house. Like, they get in the boat. Malik starts, not jet skiing, what's the
wakeboarding.
Wakeboarding. And they're, like, on screen for, like, 2 minutes just traveling around. But the shark attack happens right in front of the house.
Yeah.
And then they go to get help. The girl falls off, and for whatever reason, they're like, "Let's go back to the house then."
Yeah.
Because then they crash. I thought they crashed into the gas station at the where they picked the boat up. Nope, they went back to the house.
Yeah, again, this house has its own gas station, but it doesn't have a phone. What are you talking about? Like, just why didn't they? It was a simple thing to just be like, she goes and she tries to use the phone and it's dead. Like, that is
they
the
cut
fix.
the line.
Just
cut the line.
Not like nothing exists here. None of the conveniences except this spa tub indoors and like the cigar lounge and the movie theater.
I would
Our
have loved
full 4 pools.
I would have loved to have seen her try the phone, get through, and then all of a sudden the shark jumps out of the water and like bites through the telephone line, so she can't call for help. You know.
And by the way, again, I'm just trying to reference that it's 2011 and we've come so far. We haven't come very far. But the first 2 people to get injured and or die in this movie are clearly the black guy and the Latina girl.
Yep.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, guys, come on. So the
Try
only
a
people
little
left
harder.
are the white people.
And by the way, speaking of the black guy Malik, he was doing all of the acting in this movie.
All of it.
All of it. Like the guy gets
Yes.
the guy starts by being like an over the top, like, I'm gonna kick your ass, nerd. Just kidding, I'm friends. And then he gets there, he gets his arm bitten off, and he's like, where's my girlfriend? Where's my fiance? The shark killed her. And then he plans to kill the shark with a spear that he found.
Yep.
And then he,
Yep.
which by the way, he succeeded at, which blew my mind. I did not see that coming. I thought the shark was going to get him. And then he ends up sacrificing himself so Handsome Boy Modeling School can try and make it to the mainland. It was just, like, this guy was working his ass off for an Oscar that was never coming. You know what I mean? Just really giving St. Crispin's Day speech after St. Crispin's Day speech.
I mean, I would have, like, freaking Dustin Milligan, when like, Malik wakes up, first of all, again, guys, let's remember he's missing an arm, right? And he's got a tourniquet. So he's lost a lot of blood. He's not well. He is, I just don't see how he stands on his own. Yet he proclaims that he's going to, if they kill one of ours, I get to kill one of them. And they, not only do they let him out of the bedroom, they're like, okay, we'll escort you to the shore where we'll let you try to kill a shark. What are you guys doing? Like, no, he can't walk. He can't kill a shark with a spear. But he does.
But he did, Tara.
I know,
did.
But he did.
I mean, we saw it happen, therefore it's possible.
Do you think that was in, like, his rider? Like, he was like, wait a minute, guys, I'm the first one to get attacked. Well, then I gotta kill a shark with a spear. Like, that's what, that was what he said. Like, maybe that's the only way he got to do this movie.
And I'm sorry, the way he got the shark, because first of all, the shark's out swimming around. He, like, called for the shark. And it came.
Yeah, with his bloody arm, right?
And the shark came.
Yep.
Like, he's like, come here, shark! Come here, here's some of my blood. And the shark's
and
like,
it was a
oh,
hammerhead
coming!
shark.
Yeah, oh, coming! And I was like, what? So I didn't know we could call for sharks like we could call for dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Thank God that dog
sharks
was
are
okay,
dogs of the sea.
Yeah. Thank God the dog was okay, by the way. Like,
yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
like,
when they did
my
that.
My first note was, if a shark eats this dog, I'm shutting off this movie.
Me too.
Yep, exactly, yeah. Game over, baby. Game over.
Yeah. My next note was, I've watched half the movie. I should shut this movie off.
Yeah. Oh, mine was, no, they did not throw the dog overboard.
Right?
Right?
And then followed by, this movie is bad.
But I will say this. This movie had some really surprisingly dark turns. Like, for instance, throwing the dog overboard was one. Another is when they eventually describe why there is animosity between the guy with the scar and the blonde lead female, Sarah Paxton's character. Because you're sitting there and, like, eventually Hot Vet sits down with Sarah Paxton and he's like, what's going on? And she's like, well, you got to see, back in high school, I dated this guy, and he was a Scar guy, and me and him were really into each other, and then I told him I was going away to college, and he didn't like that. So he took me out to go scuba diving. My air got cut off, and he decided not to save me. But I made it to the surface, got in the boat, turned on the propeller, and cut his face with the propeller.
Yes.
At which point, I haven't dated since, and then I came back to see him on a random Saturday when he didn't know I was coming. And you're like, and you wonder why there's a problem? Like, what? What? that right there, that's white woman privilege. She's just like, well, I cut his face with a propeller, but I'm sure we're good.
Okay, first of all, he still looked hot, so she's fine. And actually gave his face more character, is what I would argue. The other note I had, which is, okay, so they get to the end, they have Dustin Milligan tied up, and then they have Sarah Paxton in a shark cage at another location. So Donna Logue is with Dustin Milligan explaining like this whole thing. And so Donna Logue is like, they have him tied to a chair, and he's hovering over this open water thing that they could just lower him down into the water, and the sharks could eat him. And my note was like,
it is very Dr. Evil.
Right. So they set up these three people as like these dumbass hicks, right? And I just put like, how do these dumbasses know how to corral sharks? Like, how did they like? There's like these sharks that are like sitting there like circling, and I'm like, but how'd they do that? Like, how do they do that?
And it's not like there's one shark in this lake.
No,
there are hundreds. So I feel like that would be a story.
Right,
that's
like the
I'm
newspaper
saying.
should probably figure that one out by now. Like, don't go in this lake because there's an oddly 500 sharks here now.
And they somehow got all of them in, and I know about all their genealogy and how they all work. And
yes.
Also, by the way, Tara, you brought up the fact that they put Sarah Paxton in a shark cage.
Correct.
I didn't really understand that, because if the whole premise was we're live streaming people getting eaten by sharks, why are we showing this girl in a shark cage? Because
Adam, why are you asking questions? Why are you asking logical questions? Like, I know in my head the point of a shark cage is to protect you from sharks. But Adam, I think you forget the sharks are angry because they're in freshwater and they want to be in saltwater, so they will go to any length to chew through a shark cage.
Their eyes are all like kind of moist and clear.
They have super shark strength. Yeah.
But they put her in the shark cage with those like little baby sharks. I forget what they're called.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the
baby
hick would know.
Shark. Do. No.
But can we talk about the ineffective?
Just gave me a look of death.
No,
can we talk about the ineffective nature of the guns in this movie, by the way, and people who do not know how to use them? Like, for instance, signal flare gets launched, so he's hoping to attract people to come save them when Malik gets his arm bitten off. At which point, a boat starts coming towards them. Clearly, only boat on the water, only house in, within 5 miles. And Handsome Boy Modeling School runs out there with a shotgun, just firing it into the air as a way of attracting more attention. And then later, Handsome Vet takes the gun away from the bad guys, shoots Scars-a-Lot, and Scars-a-Lot falls into the water, and then 2 minutes later, he's fine. Like, it didn't matter that he got shot. Just absolutely fine. I don't.
Hey, when your face has been ripped off by a propeller, a bullet is no problem.
Child's
And
play.
you know what? I have to say, if you got hit in the face with an active propeller, he had a good plastic surgeon, because that scar was not that big. Like, if you're talking about like the end result, I was like,
well,
it's really just
no Mark
right
Hamill
under his.
job.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in Louisiana. They have the best plastic surgeons in the world in those bayous because of the number of airboat accidents and crocodile alligator bites that occur. Yeah. That's so. Just saying.
You know what? I sorry, I was thinking about the sharks and Scarface and his girlfriend.
Scarface is so much better.
Scarface. So the Sarah Paxton character cut up his face, then went to college and was depressed about it for 3 years because she didn't date anyone, didn't do anything. I don't even know how these other people were her friends.
No, we don't know.
She had a dog on campus the whole time.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she had a dog on campus.
That's a pretty awesome dog, though. I think that they give an allowance for pretty awesome dogs, though.
That's true. You got to take an awesome dog test.
And then meanwhile, Scarface is like, you know what? I am going to learn everything I can about sharks. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to get a boat. I'm going to build cages.
I'm gonna set up a live stream.
Really got direction, and she lost direction.
Yeah.
And I think this movie is showing how that direction switches, where she finally finds direction and he loses all direction. I think it's kind of brilliant.
You know what? If he had approached this situation a little differently, I think the movie could have gone a completely different way. Like, for instance, if Sarah Paxton had shown back up, which, she shows up and he's with his racist friend and she's like, "What's going on here?" And he's like, "Hi." And she's like, "Hi, Scarface. What have you been up to?" And he's like, "Well, I started a successful business capturing sharks. I've reinvented myself. I've kept myself in amazing shape." Like, she probably would have been like, "Wow, we should grab coffee and a drink or something. Like, you've really reinvented yourself. Good for you, Scarface."
Would have that been so much more interesting, though, if he, was like, "You know what? I'm glad you left.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm good without you. I'm better without you."
Then she would have been like, then it would have been a more Dustin Milligan Scarface war, right? They would.
right,
Dustin was like,
yeah.
"Hold on a second. You like this man drives a boat. He must be unintelligent."
And then you can have Malik playing like Cyrano to Dustin
Yes.
there, being like, "Just say this, man. This is how you get her back."
Yeah.
And,
There you go.
Scarface is like taking her for shark rides at night. Like, this would have been a better movie. I just think it would have been a better movie.
I just feel so at the end, obviously Dustin Milligan and Sarah Paxton, survive, and then they're in love, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is great." And then I just think okay, so you have to drive that 2-day drive back to college. You have to explain to your 5 friends' parents that their kids are dead. All your friends are dead, and it's because of a shark live stream Ponzi scheme. I don't think anything's okay. I don't think anything's okay.
And their parents are like, "What's the internet? What are you talking about? This is 2011.
I just was like, the end of this movie, you guys are not okay. Things are not going to go well. This very moment, you being alive is fine, but they're like, "Oh, thank God." It's like,
Well, and the thing is, Tara, you said they fell in love, but at the end of the movie, he and the dog, I don't know if you noticed that, the dog took one of her hands and he took her other hand.
That's
they,
right, yes.
Carried her back to the dock of the island. So they're still on the island.
They're still fucking stuck
They're
there.
still stuck there. And
oh, that's right.
Sarah Paxton looks at Dustin and they kind of share this "Thank you." And that's it. There's no kiss. Which is fine. She suffered some traumatic events. I'm not expecting a kiss to occur. But I'm
They're in
okay,
love.
so they're okay. So let's just assume they're in love. They're still fucked. I mean, they're not going anywhere. Maybe that's just this whole movie's just an allegory for falling in love, right? You think you're doing it the right way, and then sharks attack, and you're stuck on an island with the person you kind of love for the rest of your life. And if you try and leave, shark-infested waters, everybody. Just shark-infested waters.
This is a real. You know what the problem with this movie is? This is a governmental failure. Where was Fish and Game? Nobody was keeping track of this lake and the shark problem. Right. You guys, you're supposed to there's a whole agency that monitors these things. You didn't notice not one shark, but 100 sharks are now in this lake in the Louisiana Gulf.
And the one girl who disappears at the very beginning of the movie, no one's searching for her?
Yeah, she's that's the Latina girl. They don't care. They're just "Oh, she's eaten. Bye." But they look for the other guy's arm.
But the very, very first girl.
Oh,
right.
Right.
It just cuts to a trailer.
Yeah.
He's listening to that awesome Christian rock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That Christian rock propelled it into the next scene.
I was like,
that's a good question.
I was on board with Jesus the whole way.
Yeah, we never get back to that poor naked girl with the terrible boyfriend who took her top off. We're just like, "Yep, she's dead. That boyfriend paid no price. Okay, bye."
Yeah. No, he's just sitting. I just imagined him in the trailer getting stoned, going, "Babe, where are the pork rinds? Babe."
Well, at least in Jaws, they show the kid being like, "My random girlfriend's dead and I don't know what happened to her." They didn't even give that guy that moment. All he got to do was be like, "I took your top off. I get up out of the water, show off my abs, and then I'm going into my Christian rock trailer." That's his whole, under 5
That's
situation. Yeah.
Oh boy, Shark Night.
I wrote at one point, how do you make an unscary shark movie?
It really was unscary.
Yeah.
It was so unscary.
Honestly,
it
they
wasn't
were
even
not.
Oh, the humans are really the sharks here. And that made it scary. No, it was just you guys seem like bumbling idiots who stumbled across a scheme and are going to die.
Well, yeah, and because also every time that they like foreshadow a shark is coming, or like somebody's like on the wakeboard or something, you're like, oh well, that person's gonna die or get hurt, and every single time it does. So you're like, well, I don't. There's no surprise because every time you're like, this person's about to get eaten by a shark, and then they do.
Tara, by the way, you just said wakeboard, which is the correct term for what Malik was riding on the back, and I was calling it waterboarding, and I just realized. Like, all right, people at home, I obviously projected a very different image of how Malik died. And Malik was not waterboarding anybody. I mean, if he was waterboarding someone, we probably would have celebrated the shark attack, but that's not the situation.
Dick Cheney was in this movie for a brief cameo. So.
Yeah.
Now, can we talk about the fact that this was Shark Night 3D? Like, I didn't realize this was going to be a 3D movie.
Yes. It was?
Yeah. Well, and so whenever I see a 3D movie and I'm not wearing 3D glasses, I'm looking for those moments when oh, this is supposed to be like the 3D shot. Like, here comes the is the shark coming at my face? Like, what is it? And maybe if I was wearing 3D glasses or experienced this the way it was supposed to be, some of those shark attacks may have been a little frightening, Dave. I don't know. Like, I don't want to speak out of turn. I can't really judge.
Yeah.
But I was disappointed there wasn't more, like, bits with the 3D. Like, if you're going to make a 3D movie...
There was no bits.
Yeah, I want to see, like, you know, the party horn, like coming at the screen or, you know, like water...
The boat, when they hit the gas tank, that was probably a good 3D thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point.
But that wasn't a shark, though.
No, it wasn't. It was a boat shark. No, wasn't? Okay, fair enough.
Got it.
Should we rate this?
Yeah, let's rate it.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so we have 3 tiers. A 3-tier rating scale.
You're really selling it, Dave.
Craptaculous?
We should start that again, Dave. Let's start that.
Okay. So we have a 3-tiered rating scale here, and the top is Cinema Craptaculous. This is a must-watch. Craptaculous, totally watchable on a Sunday afternoon, and then utter crap, hard pass. I will go first because I think I will be quick. Utter crap. Tara? Adam?
Wow!
Succinctly
Dave
put.
doesn't even have a follow-up. He's just like, this movie's dead to me.
This movie's dead to me. How do you make an unscary shark movie? A terrible shark movie.
I mean, okay, fine, I'll go next. Again, I like Katherine Mcphee. She was really hot in this movie. This was like peak Katherine Mcphee hotness. So it's utter crap, but she's pretty hot in it for the very short amount of time that she's in this movie.
I completely agree with you. I'm going to also give it utter crap. I feel like if they had gone and stuck in any direction, if they'd made it a comedy, if they'd made it a gore fest, if they had made it like a suspenseful, you know, even if they had made it like a sex romp, like pick a direction and stick in that direction. But they tried to do everything and they did none of it well. And they had every reason for this to be successful because of the cast alone, and they failed. Utter crap.
Wow, definitive responses today, gentlemen.
Yes, yeah, this was like chum in the water.
Ooh, shark pun.
Ba-ba-da. Well, thanks for joining us on this B-side Cinema Craptaculous journey. This is Dave, and ever present with me are...
Tara.
And Adam.
And don't be afraid to jump into that streaming pile of crap on the internet, because you never know what you just might find.
Bum, bum.
Would you say this is the fiend of this podcast?
Bum, bum.
The fin? The end? It means the end? Trying to go to...
Bum, 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 bum.
I'm still not scared of you, Adam. No, I'm not
Da-da-da-da!
scared.
Well, my fiance is...
Thanks again for joining us on our Cinema Craptaculous Presents B-Sides Journey. Subscribe to Cinema Craptaculous on iTunes or Spotify. And if you weren't totally offended, or even if you were, please rate us on iTunes. It helps us get the Craptaculous word out there. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter @Craptaculous.